Nope. Go back.
Okay.
You look great.
Hi guys, should you be able to hear me now? So we're good. Welcome to FSE Live PODCLASS number 007. No, you did not hear me wrong. That's what we're calling it now. Get into it. Tonight we're doing a sweet ass disconnected haircut with Matt Beck. Tonight joining us we have two different rosters of people tonight. We're going to start with this crew, and then a couple more are going to join us. So we got Justin Scott.
I'm back.
We've got Thad and his monster beard.
Hey, yo.
Still, you can't do better than that.
This is your second chance, Dad.
Me, Brian Hare. Matt's getting ready to cut and take it. And shortly we'll have Christina and Hayden joining us. Dre is not feeling well, so send her some love. Cool?
All right, cool. So tonight, I'm really excited because we're going to focus on disconnection in a haircut. If you guys can see that, can you show the other angle of the haircut? So the thing I love most about this cut that we did earlier today that I've been posting all over Instagram is the shortness in the layers. You guys know I love kind of a mullet-y feel to a haircut. But the thing that I love about this cut is that it's pretty seamless. So if you look at it, it's very shattered, has a lot of fun layers and pieces. But if you comb it out, it's very soft, sleek. You don't see the layering throughout it until you start to move the hair, and then you see that movement come to life. So Christina actually calls this my David Bowie labyrinth haircut. Thad, can you throw that picture up real quick? You see that? Throw it up. Is it up there?
Yep.
So yeah, it's very similar if you look at, now you can come back. Just
Some amazing color.
Yeah, it's a fun, yeah. Okay, so thank you, Brian Hare, for doing the hair color last week. So if you guys saw PODCLASS 006, Brian did this awesome hair color. So I just went in and had some fun with the haircut. So this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna focus on the disconnection, creating these longer pieces. Where do we put disconnection? All of that stuff. So if you guys have questions, make sure that you post them in the comments below. We're gonna have a lot of fun in this class. I know that we're gonna spend the next hour together. So make sure that you're asking questions and interacting. Justin and Brian are in the chat room taking your questions, and we also have questions from Instagram as well. So
We have so much.
yeah. So all right, guys. So I'm gonna set up the mannequin. Brian, if you want to pull up some of those questions, then we can get started.
Sure.
And then we'll start the haircut.
That's delicious. All right, so for starters, actually this is a pretty good one, but sorry, Matt, you're gonna have to answer.
Okay.
Dolo Deuce says, how many different techniques are there in disconnected haircuts, and which would be a good way to learn them?
All right. So I feel like this one is definitely going to get answered throughout this haircutting technique. But let's just break down real quick, and then hopefully it'll help answer your questions. So you can see that the sectioning in this haircut is pretty crazy. There's a lot of different panels within the haircut, and I think that a lot of people seeing this, which I'm gonna show it more close up so you guys can see it. I also filmed this haircut today, so I'm going to put out a simplified version of this haircut as well for different types of learning for you guys. So on this mannequin, what we did was we started off the sectioning. My thought process was I wanted to have this kind of skirt area around the bottom of the haircut, and then all the fun layers on top. So if you look at, technically I have a disconnection here, right on the side. Now the reason I did a little bit fatter disconnection on the side here as opposed to right here through the ear is that the density of the hair drops dramatically right here. We're gonna have some thickness in those layers, and then this panel is gonna drop down in the back, veil over, and then again on this side, this is gonna drop down. So we're actually not even going to cut the temple area or this back bottom area. So it's really key.
The kitchen.
The kitchen, okay. It's really key when you guys look at this technique is that you come across the occipital bone, and when you come across to the ear, you leave a little bit of hair so it meets up so that there is a veil that comes down. If you don't and you cut this off too short, you're gonna have a gap and it's not gonna work out. So
That'll be a real mullet.
then it's gonna look like a real mullet, yeah. Then you will have that. So Everything else in the interior we're gonna work on. So let's just make sure that we have what's the question again?
I think it was how many techniques are there? So I think there's
So I don't think there's like, I don't know the answer to that.
limitless.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different possibilities. The reason I'm doing disconnection in this part of the haircut is because I love how we can create all those shorter layers. If it was connected, you wouldn't be able to have those shorter layers because you couldn't connect this length and this length unless you cut concave. But I like that separation. The other thing that I love, and I'll show you guys here, is that with the disconnection, you can see that it actually pops up a shape in the back. So you could really stack this up, and then this is gonna lay nice and sleek. So if I were to concave it, it's not gonna pile up as well as if I did the disconnection and kind of built a shape within the haircut. So it's almost like doing two haircuts within one cut at the same time. Hopefully that makes sense. But so we're gonna get started. Brian, why don't you grab one more question so I can get the mannequin set right, and then we'll get going.
Tara Max 78 said, how do you choose a certain color line when your salon carries 4 different ones for each client that sits in your chair? I think that really is just going to be a breakdown to whichever one you feel most comfortable with. I mean, if you know all of them, then you know there are certain, this line's going to give you more intense reds. This one's going to give you better gray coverage. This one's going to have a better high lift. So I think just using your knowledge to customize, because there's nothing saying like, well, this client has to have this color line. I think it's just going to be a matter of you have a multitude of tools at your disposal. So
yeah, because one color line might have better like tones for blondes. Another one will have better tones for reds, or different types of reds. Like one might have a better violet red.
Yep.
So I think the question though is how do you choose? So
you just by learning the
By your
lines
client.
well enough to know when to use what tool.
Yeah.
right.
Like, not all color lines are created equal. So attend all the classes, learn everything that you can,
Yeah.
and choose appropriately.
And I mean, go out there and experiment. That's what I feel I don't see a lot of anymore. It's people, like, I remember when I was in school and I started working in the industry, I'd go to the beauty store, pick up some dude's color. If I want to make it gray, I'm going to figure out how to make it gray. If I want to see what kind of cool patterns I can do, I'm going to take 3 different colors and see what they do on a mannequin or on one of my friends. And I feel that a lot of this industry has kind of lost that experimenting, and it's gone to the internet to ask, how can I do this without trying to figure it out on your own or try anything new.
Right.
So I think that's also one way to do it too. Like you said, take all your classes. And the more you know from first-hand experience, the better you're going to feel about picking something for your guy.
Sweet.
Matt,
Yeah.
Jose Rivera, our friend,
Yeah.
is asking you, what would you say makes this haircut more modern? Like, what makes a pompadour modern is tight fading and some disconnection. Therefore, what makes this haircut more modern?
I think what makes this haircut more modern is the style put into it. So if you look at the David Bowie style that we threw up earlier, that one has kind of the poofed out fringe and a lot of volume. That was kind of like the shag of, yeah?
Someone said Matt's mic is off.
My mic is off?
No way, is it on PFF when we ripped it?
Everyone's asking if you're mic'd,
I am mic'd.
and it's just all of a sudden. Battery's not dead or anything?
No.
We're solid?
Yeah.
It's good over here. It's low. That's good. That's not low.
Maybe just try refreshing the page, guys.
Is that all it is?
I don't know. 2
Oh.
people have said something.
Can you
about
hear me
your
through
mic.
here? I would put those on just to...
The rest of us are still fine.
Does everybody say they can't hear me, or just you can hear me?
Yeah.
No. And it shows up right there, right?
All right. We're solid.
So I don't know why people...
Then away we go.
Yeah, Dre said that Justin was talking to his mic. So maybe there's like something like with the internet.
Okay, well, can you ask Drea if she can hear? Just to make sure.
Oh, I left the trays watching. Hey, there.
All right, so
People can hear you. We're good.
we're good?
Yeah.
All right, guys, so let's get into the haircut. Right now, what we're going to do is I'm going to start off in the back panel. Now, again, this part in the back, shift around. Underneath here, this is all the disconnection. So we're not going to cut anything there. We're going to start in the mid part. Now, I know a big question is going to be, how do you choose where to start?
Yeah, Dre said she heard you all the entire time.
Okay, cool. So where do you start and how do you pick your length, right? So first things first, I like to go, I went with the high occipital bone. What I did was I focused on how much density I wanted to leave down. I don't want it to be too thick. So if they had really thick hair, I might go a little bit lower. And again, if they have skinnier hair, I'd definitely go higher with the haircut. So then, as I go through here, I'm gonna be pulling the hair directly out vertical from the head. So we're working higher than the head shape. What I mean by that is, you guys can see here, I'm standing on the right-hand side of the mannequin and I'm working my finger angle just high above the head. So we're cutting a concave shape at this point, and then we're gonna round it off through the top. So we're starting off working concave. Now you're gonna pick how short you want this to be. The shorter, the better I think the shape is, because the shorter the hair, the stronger it is. If you think about, somebody said one time, a tape measure, if you run the tape measure out, the longer it gets, then it falls down, right? So hair is kind of the same way. If it's shorter, it's gonna be stronger, it's gonna hold a shape better. As soon as it starts to extend out, it's gonna fall flat. Gravity is gonna pull it down. So I wanna start off my line.
Good analogy.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it, but thank you to whoever did.
Hey,
I'm owning it.
Now I'm over directing everything to the previous, yes?
could you hear me? Yeah, okay. You guys talking to me, like you're talking.
I think they're just not used to you being here and not talking.
It's weird. Actually, we have a question when you're ready for it.
Okay, I'm ready.
So this.
Red A.
Okay, we have K-licious.
K-licious.
What is the correct technique for holding your scissors, wrists, and fingers when cutting? I've been studying education videos and noticed everyone has their own techniques, but I would like to know how to ensure haircuts are even and accurate with every slice.
Girl, you're taking my job.
Hmm?
You're taking my job, girl.
Gotta do something.
No, you don't.
So let's not worry about you two. Okay, so the question is with hand angles and how do you keep your wrist. Honestly, there's certain times where you'll see me. I'm actually, I'm working through, and I'm definitely more comfortable working like this. But because my elbow is so high and my wrist is cocked, I like to kind of come through here, and I'm working on staying more flat with my wrist and working through with my cut. Now, I've found that I can stay just as consistent that way, and the more consistent you are, the more comfortable you are, the more consistent you'll be. So you want to make sure that with every haircut that you're doing, everything that you're doing, you're comfortable, you're not stretching too far, and then your haircuts are definitely going to turn out better and be more consistent. That's really the goal, in everything that you're doing with haircutting. With color, you can, just throw it everywhere, throw it on the wall, see if it sticks.
I mean, yeah, look at our stations.
Right.
I don't know how they're still white.
All right, so now I'm going to show you guys I'm working,
That's why I use swivels.
staying on the same side of the head, cutting the same concave layering. Turn this. So now you guys can see I'm bringing everything to that previous section through here. So everything's being sectioned back vertical and then brought straight out from the head to the previous section. So just a slight over direction, not too much. Oop. But working that same angle.
That's nice.
All right. Thad, do you want to keep the camera on here, but we can grab another question, Brian, if you want?
Yeah. I'm just making sure that we got the right angle on.
We actually, we had somebody up earlier about what product are you using in the hair for the cut?
Or is it just wet?
Or is it just...
I'm prepping every cut with Prepare, the Donald Scott spray. I like that. It gives a nice slip to the hair. I know Justin's kind of been in love with that product as well. But I like spraying it in the hair. It's not too heavy. I think a lot of times I was using heavier products for a cutting lotion, but this is specifically for razor cutting and hair cutting. So it gives a slip to the hair and a little bit of hold for your sectioning, but it doesn't overpower the hair and feel heavy on it. So
Matt, your
Yeah.
guide, is that stationary or are you using a traveling?
it's traveling to the previous. So
Boom.
so we went from 2 to 1, 3 to 2, 4 to 3, and so on.
The final countdown. Someone said so like a layered triangle.
Yeah, it's a layered triangle in a way, but almost square as well. Like it's really almost square because we're working our way across the head, and then everything's over directed back. So I would say we have a pretty straight horizontal line across the back of the head if we're thinking in shape. Okay, so that is the back of the head. You can see that is pretty much like a nice little bob, kind of shaggy bob feel. So you can see that's why it's basically 2 haircuts put into one. All right, now we're gonna work into the top. So I'm not taking out these side panels because those are the disconnection, and so is the bottom. So I'm just gonna take out this diamond shape here. And real quick, just so you guys don't get confused, we started off, the best way to start off the sectioning for this haircut, I don't expect you guys to do this exact same thing, but if you want to do something similar, we took the triangle out of the front. So I took a center parting, then we took out the triangle, then I went straight down center back, and then I drew the line from mid-crown around a horseshoe section right to the temple area, or the recession point. And I did the same thing on the other side. That's what gave me these nice little diamond shapes in the back. Then I kept my center line down, went across occipital bone, across here, and that gave me my section in the bottom. So the sectioning is pretty simple, even though it looks like there's a lot going on. All right, so I'm gonna comb the hair back. I like to work the hair with my comb in the direction that I'm gonna be parting it for the haircut. And this, again, is gonna be a traveling guide, and our guideline is gonna come from what we just cut previously. And we're gonna work this with the round of the head. So we're cutting this at 90 degrees straight out. And this looks short, guys. This is short, right? So this isn't necessarily what you would do on everyone, but it's a great technique to stay consistent and to work with that disconnection. And I'm sure there are people that would want to wear, these shorter layers. If they don't, you could do a longer version of this haircut very easily on your guest. So traveling guide. And I'm working this part of the round of the head, just like I did in the back. So as I get to this corner here, I'm not coming straight out from the head, I'm coming straight up. So it just gives me a little extra length on the side, and it also helps layer the sides so we don't get that line from the layering in the haircut.
Awesome. Now, is there any reason that would you do this haircut as a dry cut?
No, because I think the greatest thing about this haircut is that it's a very precise haircut. That's why it's falling so seamlessly, because each layer is being cut with a purpose. So you can see I haven't left this side of the head at all. I'm still working the same thing, working the sectioning exactly the same on both sides. The only difference on this side is I'm pushing the hair away from me towards my guideline. So we always want to push that new hair towards the guide instead of pushing the guide towards the new hair. So you push your guide, it's going to stretch the haircut out, and you'll be shifting your guide through the haircut, and it won't be consistent.
I wish that I had gone in and colored the disconnection different to show that off when you were done.
Okay, I like that it is.
I mean, I know that'll take away from showing how well it blends.
Yeah.
But, just as more visual.
Right.
So-
Because they do still love color in your haircuts.
Yeah.
What's up, Justin?
We got a question cut by Oscar.
Okay.
This is right up your alley. What is the difference between the Mizutani Blacksmith Fit Puffin
Okay.
and the Acro Leaf Wide? Both for dry and slide cutting. Is one better than the other, and vice versa in certain features?
Okay, so good question, Oscar. The Mizutani Acro Leaf Wide so the Acro series of Mizutani has a certain handle type. Just like the Blacksmith Fit Puffin has the Blacksmith Fit handle type as well. So it's really just what handle you're most comfortable with. And the Acro, they're made of similar metals, those two scissors. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's more about the handle. I believe that the metals are similar, but I don't know. I've never used the Acro Wide, so I do have the Puffin. So if I had to choose, I like the Puffin, especially because of the price point. I feel like the price point fits really well for the amount of use that you use with the dry cutting scissor, and it's a top quality scissor. I know Thad has it.
Oh, I love it, and I really like the how it fits in my hand. Like the holes, the tang.
Yeah.
Like the
I have it right here.
I mean, I have giant hands.
We're gonna use it in a little bit.
5.5 inch shear just feels comfortable for me.
Okay, can you see? There you go. So this is the Blacksmith Fit handle, and then let's see if I have an Acro. I mean, I have the Acro Type Z2, so you can kind of see everything in Mizutani. The name is based on the handle. So here's the Acro Type Z2, and then here's the Blacksmith Fit. I actually think that this Blacksmith Fit with the little kind of triangle piece to your ring finger fits really well, and it makes it so your finger doesn't move around in the hole, so you get a nice grip on the scissor when you're cutting. So
Maybe that means you're a blacksmith because it fits you.
yeah, maybe.
I'm looking through our questions. We got actually what I love. We have a whole bunch of brand new stylists. Some are still in beauty school, cosmetology school.
Okay.
So good luck, you guys. A couple good questions. One is asking what's a really good way to build a strong book. He says quickly, because he wants to have a full book in 2 to 4 years. Honestly, I think that's about what it takes. I don't know whether that's necessarily accelerated. I think so long as you're busting your hump,
Yeah.
you can totally make that a reality.
Dad, do you want to go to? You can go to whatever angle, but my belly was not the angle I was looking for on that.
Gotcha. So get to my double chin instead.
Yeah, please.
Somebody else asked, what's your best advice for new stylists? I think that over the past couple of years, I think we've pretty much settled on our best advice is stay educated.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like obvious for us to say, but that's what's worked for all of us in our careers. And we've seen what constantly educating yourself can do for us and other people, and just your skill and your talent and confidence and everything. So I think that's a good one.
I think it's a great one. And plus, we had a question on the Matt Beck show where the guy was asking how not to stay, not to get like, what was it, burnt out and you feel stagnant.
Yeah.
And I feel education, you can't really feel too stagnant if you're always learning and you want to try that new technique, whether it's one person a week, that's something new you want to try. You can't really stay stagnant. You want to keep educating yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right. Last bit of this haircut.
Well, important.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, once you section a haircut, like when I first started mapping out my haircut first, there was a guy named Scott Cole who I watched really closely when I was working with the Paul Mitchell crew. And, you know, I always looked up to the way that he cut hair because he would map out an entire haircut before he did it. And the great thing about it, like he would even go through and in the disconnections, he would put the clip facing down. It was either down or up, but so let's say disconnection, he would put the clip facing down, and then everything he was going to cut, he would put pointing up. And I just thought, you know, that thought process is really good for new stylists because, you know, when you map out a haircut, it makes your workflow better. Anytime you plan something out, it's going to come out better than if you just go in there and go crazy and start cutting things. So just make sure that everything that you do has a purpose behind it. think about the way that the weight's going to shift and move in the haircut. Like, I know layers this short in a long haircut are kind of crazy, but they're not really crazy as long as they fall seamlessly. If they fall and they don't make sense in the haircut, that's when it's a mistake, right? So,
Or surprise.
or a surprise. Last little bit of the haircut. I love this part because we're going to connect this short layer piece here to the fringe area. What? Get out of here. So I'm going to take a vertical section right down the center of the fringe. I'm going to elevate this up. I'm going to grab a piece from right back in the point.
And real quick, what kind of comb are you using over there?
This is the 334 comb from YS Park.
Can I have it?
No.
Taking it.
I can get you one though. I know a guy. All right, so I am going to layer the front fringe here. Now, normally I would not want to layer the fringe, but what I'm going to do is I want to go in and break up the fringe. Then I'm going to go through in the dry cut and soften it.
Somebody's saying your mic is kind of distorted.
I think that was when you put the headphones down because I could hear it from your headphones getting kind of crazy.
Yeah, why don't you turn the headphones?
Maybe that too. Maybe turn it down just a little bit, Thad, since I thought it wasn't working, and then I turned it up.
Is that
8, yeah.
Ocho.
You can go down a little bit more. All right.
Why
Let's
is
see.
he doing that? Keeping it with the fringe, and what will it do?
I'm not necessarily keeping it right with the fringe. The fringe mark, the guide is coming out right there. I just want a connected flow to the back. It doesn't have to connect completely. And because this is a little bit shorter, it's even a little bit shorter than my previous cut. So I'll show you guys
Getting crazy in the class for y'all.
a little bit different here. So here was my hair before. So it's a tiny bit shorter, it's not much, but it connects in. And then what that does is it cuts a layered part of the fringe. So it's not a heavy fringe that goes through, and we can go in and point cut that out, which we're gonna do in a second, and I'll show you guys. So we're putting in the structure of the fringe first, or the bang, whatever you wanna call it. So I'm gonna work.
Concealer.
Love when parents
what?
come in. They're like, I want my son's bangs to be straight.
I like when people come in and say, I can't afford Botox. I need bangs.
It's a lot cheaper, right? So we're gonna work this up. We are keeping a heavy point on the front bang area. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna over direct everything to the center. So what's that gonna do for me? Anybody got
I know.
what?
It's going to give you the little rainbow shape.
The rainbow, yeah, there you go.
Little arch. Yeah,
That's a great description, Brian.
Your happy arch.
It's the rainbow shape.
Well, did you not get the exact picture in your
I
head?
did, I got it.
There you go. You're welcome.
So what that's doing as I over direct it is shifting that weight towards the temple area, giving a kind of a rounded feel to the fringe. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Let me do a little shift here. Bringing everything into that center. Using my guideline. Oh.
It doesn't matter if you're whispering if your microphone is still right in front of your mouth.
Now you're just whispering to everybody online.
I just want to be really cute with you guys.
It's the Whisper Song 2.0.
All right, so now we can see
The rainbow connection.
the rainbow connection there. So it's longer on the sides, gets shorter in the center, kind of gives that U shape or the rainbow shape.
Notice how he said, you looked at me and said, or the rainbow shape. What are you trying to say, Matt?
You called it. All right, so now I'll take out the
Call me a
disconnections. And then you'll see how this haircut comes together and all the long pieces fall out.
It's beauteous.
Now, if this were curly hair, I would probably go in and cut that base a little bit shorter. See if I can go down. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So you can see the layering in there. It's really fun. We blow dry, we smooth it. Ta-da! And now we
Man,
have,
look at what blowing it dry did.
I know, it's amazing.
Oh my god, that blow dryer.
Look at that
Oh,
color.
too.
All right, so here is a couple adjustments that I made as soon as I blew it dry. I went through and I cut into the fringe. So what we did was I took horizontal sections across the top. So basically, the way that I look at it, if I saw a little bit of a heaviness because of the layering that I was holding, right? So that top point, the top edge of the fringe is gonna lay heavier. So you're gonna see this kind of crease or weight line that comes across. So what I did was I took the hair horizontally, lifted up that bit. I looked at what I had underneath. I hold the hair up, just like that. I'm gonna shift the head. Gonna shift this up. All right, so I lift the hair and then I go through and I just point cut along the edges. And then as I do that, it starts to soften the look of the fringe. So really, anytime that you cut a fringe and you feel like it's a little bit heavy or you're trying to take weight out, you want to create pieciness in the fringe area, you just go through, you can pull it up horizontally across and just point cut into it and soften it.
Somebody just asked, since this haircut may not be requested by a client, how would you approach suggesting it?
I honestly don't think that this is necessarily something you're going to fully do on a client. The reason I'm showing you this technique is because disconnection, it can be a big part of your salon day. I don't know if this technique is necessarily always going to be something that you would use, right? So if you want to give this to a client, I would say find somebody that wants this type of hair color, this type of cut, but this isn't going to be something that somebody's going to wear all the time. You definitely need to smooth it out. You need to style it a certain way. So what I would say when suggesting things to a guest, if you have a guest that has weaker points in their haircut and you're trying to add extra weight to it, you can create a disconnection within that area so you don't have to layer it. I think haircutting is all about what you leave on the head, not necessarily what you're cutting off, right? So we're constantly going in, constantly trying to chop away at a haircut to carve something into it, when technically, if we wanted to create a little bit of extra volume, we can go in, create those short layers within the haircut, and then leave the length on the bottom. Or I've had guests that are a little bit older, maybe in their, let's say, early 50s, late 50s, that can't wear a haircut like this, but they have a lot of hair and they don't want to deal with it every day. We'll go in and I'll totally take out the whole mid part of their haircut and I'll disconnect the top. I'll let the top fall over long and I'll let the bottom be long. So that way we're removing weight from the interior and then allowing them to still have long hair that they can pull back in a ponytail, still work with on a daily basis. So disconnections are a big part of haircutting, and I think a lot of people associate disconnection with a hair show look. But what I'm trying to kind of show you guys today is that you can, I mean, this is fun. This is definitely a haircut that I knew, like if I put a picture up, it's going to get people's attention to come in. So that's, this is a fun kind of hair show haircut. But you can transfer every single one of these techniques into your everyday haircutting.
Yup. Okay, real quick. Hold on, where was this? Oh, somebody asked, I have your app on my old phone, but I can't find it in the App Store now.
Yeah, it's not on the App Store anymore.
So that's why.
Yeah. Not actually sure why. It's one of those things where when you first start doing things, sometimes you rely on other companies to make things, and they made the app. It was cool. It still works if you have it, but if you don't have it, you can't get it anymore. So yeah, it's
like
kind of
funny.
Yeah.
And then somebody, our girl, Unicorn, no, it's Uni Walker, asked a question that's good. For Thad to answer, actually. She's saying she's an apprentice assistant starting to transition to more days behind the chair with clients. She's very vigilant on body position and working in the most comfortable manner, but standing all day still takes its toll. Any suggestions on stretches, exercise, blah, blah, blah? We all do different stuff. Yoga and hot baths and red wine for me.
I like to use the cutting chair a lot, actually. So I know that's not answering like the question about stretches. I don't necessarily have any stretches.
I was
or
suggesting you to
exercises.
talk about the chiropractor that you now go to 3 times a week.
I go once a week.
That's like, I love the cutting stool, but I do go to a chiropractor
Oh, yeah.
all the
The
time.
cutting stool's fantastic.
Well, I've always had like stuff going on with my back. So,
Right, yeah, I know.
That's helped
That's
as well as it's more so for like longevity. But yeah, I go to a chiropractor. It's great. Like I feel like I just like sat for like an hour massage and I was only there for 5 minutes. So
It's nice.
I just go to the gym 5 days a week. That works out for me.
I mean I do that too.
Yeah,
But
I feel that.
that leaves me sore, so that doesn't really help with.
But it's not like it's not a wrong body position sore like
Oh,
she
yeah.
might be feeling. It's a I just picked everything up, X amount of time sore. I
Yeah.
feel like if you go do that, or even if you get like the foam roller that you have,
Yeah, the foam roller is great.
that's great for any kind of like shoulder issues or back issues you might have.
Good call, Justin.
A fun one.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks Christine and Matt for my birthday monsters.
Welcome.
All right, so you need to go over anything else?
So last little bit that I did, and then that'll be the end of this cut, is I went through the fringe or bang area and just added a little bit of point cutting into it, because depending on how you hold the hair out, you may have a really soft front. So if you want to add a little bit of shape to that, you can go in and kind of draw your line here. And then the last thing I did was I went through and I take my scissor. You guys may have seen this if you haven't seen it before. Let me turn
Do it.
this a little bit. So used to, whoops, that doesn't work.
There goes that.
Oh, what happened?
That camera's done.
Oh,
Guess we'll just use the other one. It's us.
there it is. She's back. All right. So what I did was I went through. Totally gonna turn this. There we go. Perfect. All right, and I grab vertical section, over direct everything straight towards me. I take my scissor, I put my thumb through the other direction, and then I work the scissor back. So I take my thumb out, put it in the other direction, flip the scissor around, and then I just work by slide cutting in. And the reason I like doing that technique is because this is a little bit more uncomfortable. So this is pretty easy body position. And I just softened the edge of the haircut here. And I did the same thing on the other side. So vertical section, bring the hair out, take the scissor, flip it, and work just from that edge of the eyebrow down, just to soften the haircut in there. So that opened up the face just a little bit and brought it back. To finish the haircut,
I also feel like that technique also makes you feel like a little bit
Cooler.
Well, cooler definitely, but work that angle a little bit more gentle. Like you're a little bit more conscious about what you're doing.
Just be
Yeah.
careful because you'll give him a mullet if you go too hard.
well, we kind of give them the mullet anyways.
Oh, yeah.
So adding a little bit of, I'm really loving cream texturizing paste on longer hair
really
right
see
now. And I know that kind of, some people that freaks out, like Brian's face, but I like,
No, it's just the phrasing. I love this stuff.
this is carved from Bocado, but I like adding a little bit of this cream paste to the ends coming through, and then just to mess up and add that texture in. Instead of using like a spray right now, I really like the way that the cream feels in the hair. And this really brings my David Bowie Labyrinth cut,
So
which
are
I
you
did
gonna,
mention earlier.
Matt Beck,
Yeah,
are you going to recommend this to someone with a lot of wavy, frizzy, thick hair?
no.
I didn't think so.
So I wouldn't recommend this to somebody with really thick, frizzy, curly, crazy hair, because the short layers are going to
Well,
shoot
just look
straight
at the
out.
difference in the mannequins. Like this one's all blown out and flat ironed, and that one's airing dry with its normal texture, and
Yeah.
it just looks a little bit
Disheveled.
Alabama.
It's a little. Well, there's probably people from Alabama.
I can say that I'm from there.
Oh, is that how it works?
That's how it works. That's our
Um,
word.
This is like
It reminds me of what's her name?
Steven Tyler?
Sarah Connor from the first Terminator movie.
Yes.
well, there you go.
And that's just a slight texture. So yeah, if they're like super frizzy and super wavy, then they're just gonna have to put so much work into it to make it look. Because the point of this, like you were saying at the beginning, is to do a hardcore disconnection, but still have it seamlessly run together.
Yeah.
And if it's just
See if
over
Chris, do you want to go to
texture.
that closer?
Get in there.
So you can see how that layering, it's seamless. I mean, you can obviously see the pieces, but there's nothing heavy or lines, and that's because of the elevation that we were working with throughout the haircut. So this is actually a really fun haircut. I kind of hope that
Matt, somebody asked how you would style those bangs like in the real world.
in the real
Because
world,
they're
I
just
would,
like super long.
yeah. Again, this is like, a more fun haircut. In the real world, I would cut them, they would be a little bit shorter. But I would still use the same technique. But I would cut into them more so that they were softer and piecier. And, then you could kind of separate them.
You don't need to see when you look awesome.
It's the
Yeah, pretty
same.
much.
It's the same feeling of anybody that wears kind of a heavier front fringe. It's going to be broken up, and if they're having a really hard time, then they can move it up like the 80s. But yeah, so I would just separate it. Use a little bit of that cream paste or maybe a spray wax type product just to separate that fringe. But you can see she has eyes.
Yeah, you can see.
They're coming through.
She reminds me of Chitara.
Oh my god, I love Chitara.
You could also go in with your like a Mizutani puffin, like a dry cutting scissor, and grab some of these pieces and work that tease cutting technique just to break them up a little bit more if you wanted to have a choppier front on your bang. There.
Heck yeah.
Any other?
Yay. I think we're pretty solid on questions.
Yeah?
I mean, we got through
A ton from social
a lot
media.
of them. We got some great questions in the chat room.
Okay.
Christina, would you mind grabbing that pink box from the color bar? It's on the other side.
And if you guys have
Down there.
any, just popped in. If you guys have any questions, you can post them in the comments below. I'm also going to post another version of this haircut when I actually cut this mannequin. I'm going to post that on our YouTube channel as well over the next couple days. I'm going to edit that video together. So I did do kind of a raw cut of this haircut as well, so you guys can get two versions of it, because I knew that this class, the pod class, is a little bit crazy. There's a lot of questions coming in, so hopefully that'll help answer anything that you haven't gotten from it. Also, make sure that you comment below. Let us know what you think of the cut.
We just got told that this is the most answered question episode ever,
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure it was.
answering questions, taking names.
Boom.
So
All right.
we have a big celebration.
Yeah,
You-
this is a surprise.
Yeah, we're getting. Is it?
I thought I was like I missed the weeks. I'm like, cool. I'll get
No,
next
we
year.
decided to wait until you got back to do your birthday. So the whole reason for this, Justin still can't see it,
I don't know what it
because Justin is working on getting his Medusa tattoo enlarged and brought all around on his head. We decided, since he's getting more snakes added to himself, we would get him a Medusa snake birthday cake. I don't know if you can see. Take it out, Justin. Slide it on out of there. There's Hayden in front of the camera. Turn around and say hi. It's right behind your face.
They're right here.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And there's even glitter on it.
Yeah, bud. There.
This is so cool.
Happy birthday!
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday, Justin. You're almost
Happy
old now.
birthday!
I go 18
Happy
steaks.
birthday to you.
All right, so who are we gonna choose to spin the wheel?
Oh, I don't know. Justin, you pick. You're the birthday boy.
You know what? Uni Walker, they've been kind of pretty active tonight.
Love
Yeah.
her.
How many shoes have I been
Uni Walker's been active on all of our stuff lately,
She has
everywhere.
we haven't picked her before, have we?
I
I was
don't.
just gonna say, have we picked Uni Walker?
Oh, I don't know.
Because we keep talking about writing it down every week, but we never have.
Yeah.
Do you know her name?
Universe is her first name.
No.
All right.
I just
Uni
asked her if
Walker
she's
it
in the
is.
Look out, bud.
States.
Look out.
Yeah, she is. She's in cosmetology school.
Oh, cool.
That doesn't mean she's
Yeah, so,
Well, I mean, she's not in Brazil.
All right,
so
cool.
Uni Walker gets to win tonight.
All right, Hayden.
Do you want to go over what's on the wheel?
Yeah, Thad's gonna go over what's on the wheel.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, snap.
Let me get a blanket. Do you lose a
Alright,
tooth?
so guys, we have Olaplex to help restore your hair. We have Parker for when you need to get a nice close shave. We have Ergo for when you're looking to have your guest leave nice and stylish. We got Donald Scott for when you want to do a nice razor cut along with using your shears. Minerva Beauty to make sure your salon is outfitted with Brian. We got Free Salon Education. Matt, what are we giving away? We're giving away Brian and his hair.
Really fun stuff. It's
Hayden's-
like a fun packet.
Well,
Hayden's lost tooth.
Yeah, we give away Hayden's teeth.
we're giving away Brian's fun package. We got sunlights for your blonding needs.
I love this.
We got Mainstream.
Mainstream.
We got Mainstream,
Three
which
months?
is the
month
for the
for it?
stylist
A
of the
month.
A month for 100% of your profit.
Whoop,
go.
whoop.
Amika for styling products and like tools in general.
They give cool stuff.
Yeah, cool stuff.
Awesome stuff.
You want fun stuff? Amika.
Tools products.
We got Olaplex again, and we got Mitsutani. Mitsutani is going to be still.
Are we still giving away shears or $100 off?
It's still shears because we gave away.
Give away one pair.
Yeah.
Alright, so you could possibly win an awesome pair of shears.
And
Heck yeah.
and we got J Lace as well, and they have a lot of awesome stylist gear, as well as Justice Scott on their website.
I'm gonna return this wheel. Oh, sorry about that. You all right? All right. Hayden is going to spin.
Ready?
This is exciting. I get dizzy looking at that. Oh, jeez.
Oopsie.
Donald Scott.
All right.
Donald Scott.
I just did a Donald Scott. That's beautiful.
Your mom's beatboxing.
All right.
All right.
So that was
That's
awesome.
it.
That concludes
Hayden, look out, bud.
FSC Live PODCLASS 007.
Yeah.
The spy edition.
Like Matt said, if you have questions, be sure to actually post them below because our little windows get ready to go away. So we can answer them as they're asked. Be sure to follow us on everything. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already. Check us out Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, everything. MattsFreeSalonEducation.com. You can follow me. I'm Hairstyle on everything.
Bad Bolonist.
I am Justin Scott.
He didn't bet.
I do not have Instagram yet.
Or Mike.
Hayden's going to bed.
Yep, Hayden's going to bed.
All right, cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the class. I know that there was a lot going on in that haircut, so I hope you guys like it. Please comment below, let us know, and we'll talk to you on the next.
Next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. See you guys.